This episode is brought to you by JLL. Get an insider view into the world of commercial real estate with JLL's podcast, Trends and Insights, the Future of Commercial Real Estate. Whether you're curious about making cities more sustainable, the evolution of office space, or AI opportunities, this podcast will help keep you a step ahead. Tune in for candid conversations with business leaders about the biggest trends impacting how we live, work, and play. Subscribe to Trends and Insights now at jll.com/podcast.
Today on CityCast Boise, inflation has cooled, but food prices are still on the rise. So we're resharing my conversation with contributor Jimmy Dawson, who makes a strong case for shopping at Boise-based grocery giant WinCo to stay on budget. Plus, I share my trick for stress-free WinCo shopping. It's Tuesday, February 20th. I'm Frankie Barnhill, and this is what Boise's talking about. Jimmy, I am so excited to have you here to talk about WinCo.
It's probably my favorite thing to talk about, whether I'm on a podcast or if I'm talking with a friend about it. And you happen to be both, so.
I know it works out great in this instance because it really, there's so much about WinCo and I just can't wait to get into it because I have so many things to say. Okay, first off, I'm just curious, have you always been a WinCo shopper? Because I knew you grew up in Lewiston, so in Idaho, so you had WinCos, right?
No. So that's the thing. My great WinCo discovery was when I went to University of Idaho in Moscow. It has one of the older stores in Idaho and really in the system. But the part of Lewiston that I grew up in, it actually had Rosar's. That was the closest store.
Ah, yeah.
And this was before I noticed a big trend probably back in the early 2010s where all these grocery stores just got super bougie and it wasn't cool. Because when I came down to Boise after living in Delaware for a while, there was that Rosar's over in Meridian, and
yes.
I went there for the first time, and I did not recognize it at all. Everything was super expensive, the lighting was all dramatic, and that's not how our Rosar's was back in the day. So it was there. I would go on grocery trips with my dad, not only to Rosar's, we would hit up Albertsons, which also wasn't super bougie back in the 90s and 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And then, head over to the Costco across the river in Clarkston. So those were my main stores. What about you in Missoula?
Yeah, let's see. We had Safeway, we had a Rosar's, we had Albertsons, but yeah, not bougie at all. But I totally agree. There was this trend toward fancy displays and really nice details and curated sections
and high prices.
And high prices, damn it. And so, but then WinCo obviously is the antithesis of that. Which, to be honest, actually, when I first moved to Boise and I first went to a WinCo, I was like, ooh, this is kind of overwhelming. It's too sterile, but also I need to have a debit card or cash. Shoot, I don't have that with me right now. There were these rules that I didn't feel like I knew what the rules were at first. And so I will say for the first probably 2-ish years in Boise, I didn't shop at WinCo because I just felt like I didn't get it really right away.
Wow. Okay.
I know. So I did have this evolution, but then once I got it, I have never turned back. And I feel like it came with learning a little bit more about the company, but also just figuring out when I should go for my own shopping experience to be the best it could possibly be. And then just learning the store. And that's one thing I love about it is that they do keep the store, unlike in other stores where they always are changing up the aisles, right? And it's so annoying because you can't find the thing and you want to just get in and get out. And WinCo, they actually keep things mostly in the same aisle, and you really can do that. But honestly, I learned about it's a local company. We do have other local grocery stores. You already shouted out Albertsons, of course. And no, we are not sponsored by WinCo, but you can add us if you want to, WinCo. And I mean, one thing that I appreciate is that it is this employee-owned description that we see everywhere. turns out their employee stock program is pretty generous too.
Yeah, from what I understand, I've had friends work at different WinCos, in Moscow and in Boise, and they've talked to me about it, but nothing in detail. So I kind of went and poked around a bit on their website and, around the internet. And I mean, it includes part-time workers. There are some minimum hour thresholds that you have to meet, but I mean, you're eligible your first year if you work enough hours.
Wow.
So I mean, like when it started, which I don't have that in my notes, but it was 1985 actually when the original founder died, I believe, and the employees purchased it. And I just thought that was super cool. I've met a couple of these OG WinCo employees in Boise, and they don't ever tell me specifics about how much they cashed out, but I mean, it's significant from what they have kind of told me. I mean, there's a guy who on Broadway owns that vinyl record shop, right? I don't know if you've been there. He's an OG WinCo employee. And he told me, he's just like, this is just kind of my day job where I get to just chill out, listen to music, talk to people. And I don't really care if I make money because I have plenty.
Oh my God. That is the dream.
Yeah.
That is the dream. And WinCo made it happen, made it possible. And isn't their valuation really high too? Like how many billions of dollars?
At least according to Forbes, they say it's worth $8.2 billion, the entire system. And that would make it the 46th largest private company in America.
Yeah. Well, and you found this, but there's like stores, 136 stores or something like that. Yeah, mostly in the West, but expanding every day.
Because, Missoula didn't get one until, a few years ago, right?
Actually, just like a year ago. And in Missoula, grocery prices, very expensive. And so having the WinCo option there, that'll really, I think it'll really help people. And that's one of the things I love about it, I guess, is that everybody can shop at WinCo. WinCo is affordable no matter what your income is. And, I all walks of life go into WinCo, especially like the downtown store. Are you a downtown store shopper?
That's my store. Yeah. And I've seen everything from Porsches to hoopties in that parking lot. Like,
yes.
It's legit. And that's also why, or part of why I love it. I mean, sure, you've got some more expensive brands that they carry. I don't know how much you want to get into this, but it's like you can get almost anything that you want aside from like super specialty ingredients, at least for what I usually cook.
Right. I've been surprised by some specialty items that I would not expect to see there that I would think I need to go to the co-op or somewhere, really special to find, and they have it.
For $5 cheaper, probably.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about the experience. How do you go about it? What do you like? And what should people know if they're converting to become WinCo shoppers?
Okay, so I have two modes. I like to go there actually for lunch, like just kind of picking up, some Lara bars, or like, sometimes I'll get one of their pre-made sandwiches, which probably aren't the best for you nutritionally, but man, it's hard to beat a $2 sandwich.
It is.
So the two modes that I get into, if I'm like, I need to get in and out, I need to go back to work, I just kind of put blinders on. It's business mode. I just go strutting in. I know exactly where everything is, and I just go in and out, self-checkout, and that's it. If I'm kind of in a browsing mood, then, I'll go see if there's anything new. They've got that section, at least in the downtown Boise location, and I know that they have them in different WinCos as well, but I don't necessarily know where they are layout wise, but it's kind of right as you funnel in and you go through that first aisle. It's right to your left, kind of with like the diapers and the formula. It's their seasonal area.
Yeah.
And I always like to check that out.
I know you like the bulk foods, right? Don't you stock up at bulk? So what do you get there?
Oh man. Okay. So I get probably 3 types of rice, let's see, a couple, 3 types of lentils. You got to always have your green French lentils, your, staple browns, and then, the red ones for this lemon soup that I like to make with red lentils. Yeah, that's a winter staple. And then my favorite bulk section item would probably be the cherry vanilla granola, which in the downtown Boise location, it's all the way in that back right corner as you come in kind of like the little U-shape bulk area instead of one of the 3 aisles.
Got it.
That's
Got
right
it.
there. But that's choice.
I love the bulk section as well. I don't have any special highlights there except for that's the beauty of it is there's just so much variety. I'm going to back us up and just start with, that original funnel when they take you in and it's the wall of goodies. Of course, they usually have one of my favorite things to get at WinCo. It's very basic. It's honestly was in my Twitter bio for a long time. But, my LaCroix, right? So they've always got a great selection of the different flavors. And it's nice to have it right at the top and at a discount. And I usually load up on at least 2 different flavors. And then I really do think that their produce section is top notch, especially the organic section for being how much it costs. Like you're getting organic produce at a much lower price than you would at anywhere else you go in town. And they have some pretty good variety of herbs, fresh herbs, which, as someone who loves to cook at home, I know that you like that too. Me too. It's just nice to have a few of them on hand without having to think about it.
Agreed.
And then, I think their wine section's pretty good too.
Absolutely. You've got 3 rows.
3 rows. I would say I've had some really good Prosecco that when I go to somewhere else, it's, at least $15 more. And then some just standard like Pinot Noirs that can't be beat. Let's say it.
You get your $15 Boda box,
Yes.
for your weeknights or weekends. I'm not judging. I do it on the weekends too, but I don't know if you religiously check, but at the end cap of one of those wine aisles, they've got like the best buys for under like a certain dollar amount. Do you ever check that? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You talked about a couple different ways to shop in terms of time. I will say, so I do have a very specific way of shopping at WinCo. Every once in a while, I go in for just a few items, but primarily I go there every week. I go there early on Saturday morning before anybody else is really there yet. The parking lot, maybe there's like a quarter of the cars are filled up. And I have a plan. I call it divide and conquer. If my husband comes with me, he knows to be prepared for battle.
Stay out of your way.
Yes. And
but who pushes the cart?
That's a good question. Usually I have him push the cart so that I can be like the satellite, like that goes out and fans out, and then I come back with the items, especially if he's slowing me down a little bit, I gotta fan out, and then I come back,
Matt.
Check in. Yeah, exactly. I like to feel like I had a very productive and straightforward shopping experience while also getting everything I was looking for and maybe finding something surprising along the way too.
And that's the best part is kind of the discovery. Now, it's not like, a corner bodega store where you just have like the most random stuff, or like
right.
One of my favorites in Boise is like this Indian spice grocery store on Fairview, where they just have all kinds of great stuff, like especially imported sodas, which to me are great. Even though it's like the same 7-Up theoretically, it's actually like half the sugar, more delicious. You've got like all of these imported sweets, and then like everyday homeware stuff, decorations. It's great.
Yeah, and those shopping experiences are so special too. WinCo definitely serves like a purpose. It's utilitarian while like feeling just part of your routine if you want to make it one.
But you can still get a piñata if you want.
Correct. Jimmy, I'm curious, have you had any like fails at WinCo, like anything that you tried that just did not turn out? I'll start with one. I do like, generally speaking, I like their generic brand, but I did try their generic tartar sauce. Do not do generic tartar sauce.
Oh.
That's one thing that I'll say that did not hold up.
No, I mean, I kind of have rules about whether I go generic or name brand on things. Usually I will try the generic just to see if it's, as good or better, or at least, worth saving the extra $1.50 or $2 or whatever. Sauces are usually one of those things where I usually go name brand.
Yeah.
That's just my personal preference, but fails.
Smart.
I don't think so. I mean, the only fails would have been on my end by messing up the cooking part of it. Not necessarily. I'm not going to blame the ingredients on it. I will say, sometimes there have been instances where the produce on a particular day wasn't as great, but that is much rarer of an occurrence, I find, at WinCo than it is at, the Fred Meyer or Albertsons near my house, where the same thing costs several times more, and it's not even that good looking.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Do you buy fish at WinCo? That's kind of one area that I haven't explored because I get a little nervous. I'm nervous about buying fish in Idaho regardless because we're an inland state. But is that something you do?
I have before. I haven't lately. And I've never bought out of their fresh case. I only bought the frozen, pre-portioned stuff.
Sure. I will say one thing I wish WinCo did have that it doesn't is a pharmacy. That would be really handy to just be able to have that be part of my shopping experience if I have a prescription or need some allergy meds over the counter or something like that. I can go right there.
Are you trying to turn it into Costco now?
So that's kind of what I'm aiming at, actually, because Costco's annoyingly far in my mind and WinCo's so close. And so I am a WinCo shopper because of convenience. But there is a part of me that's like, sure, throw in an optical. Let's have a pharmacy. Just I'll take giant hot dogs. Yes, thank you.
As I like to call it, and I stole it from my brother, this chic little bistro called Cafe 150.
Yes.
$1.50 hot dogs, used to be $1.50 chicken bakes, slices of pizza, all that stuff.
Okay, let's end on one more recommendation note or one more thing for people to consider when they go to WinCo before we wrap up. My recommendation is they have, do you ever buy the Cento brand tomatoes, the San Marzano
100%, and they're the cheapest there.
They are, and they're like a secret, and you can do so many things with them. You can make your own sauce and just so many things. And all the bougie, New York Times cooking recipes and stuff call for it and get it for cheap at WinCo. That's probably my number one cheat.
Yep. And I don't know if you use the whole tomatoes or if you go with the even cheaper crushed option, which is also very good. Crushed tomatoes sometimes are pretty bad, to be honest. But I mean, you get it for $2.15 a can there, and it for a 28-ounce can. It's great, and it makes enough pizza sauce for 6 pizzas, at least in my house.
Okay, that's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe to our free Hey Boise newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more local stories from around the city. See you then.